Okay, now Lakers and Hornets trade. The Lakers get Mark Williams, who is cost controlled, is extension eligible after this year. He's a restricted free agent in 2026. The Hornets get Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 first round pick, and a 2030 pick swap. There's been a lot of conversation about this trade where like the Hornets got a haul and they have a ton of picks for the future. I really don't care about that. They haven't shown the ability to draft. They haven't shown the ability to build a roster.
Yep.
So they traded Mark Williams, who I think has so much upside. And, you know, with LaMelo and Brandon Miller and all of them healthy, I don't think they ever were able to realize that potential. But they were probably fed up. Mark Williams just wasn't healthy for them and effort issues. I understand that, but I didn't give them like this outstanding grade for trading Mark Williams. This was a C, and I thought the Lakers made out at a B plus, and the only reason why it's not an A is because of the injury concerns you have with Mark Williams. That's the only reason why this isn't an A, because I think he has all-star level potential, and I think he has a chance to be one of the most dominant guard and big man duos in the league with Luca Doncic and him involved.
I'm going to respect the Hornets a little bit more just for understanding that getting that 2031 first round pick, that was pretty firm. Understanding that Mark Will, he showed great upside, but at the same time couldn't stay healthy for you. You're getting concerned. You're not in the business of having an unhealthy player to inevitably let him walk away for nothing. No, you're still able to capitalize that and also get a pick swap in 2030. Getting Dalton to connect, get some spacing around LaMelo Ball. I thought that was an excellent decision there. And then Cam Reddish. That's Riv's boy. You know, maybe he'll start watching Hornets basketball with me.
I'm here.
He gives you defense. That's
as long
about
as y'all
it.
play him, I'm here.
That's about it. So I'll give them a C plus, B minus. But as for the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm with you 100%, B plus. But why I'm at a B plus is because the Los Angeles Lakers don't have a tradable first round pick till 2033. That's kind of where we're at, where you're not really able to make any strong power moves unless it is in free agency or in the buyout markets, which I do anticipate the Lakers to be active in. Maybe Bruce Brown is one of the key guys that we go after. Could use a little bit wing depth, especially for the defensive side.
The big game is this Sunday, Chiefs versus Eagles, a rematch of the 2022 Super Bowl. And Prospects, they have a free square for this big game. Do you want to know what it is?
Talk to me. I hope it's a good free square because we've now noticed that free squares aren't free anymore because some players really don't get it.
Well, I think this is an actual free square because it's the greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. He just needs one passing yard and you win. If you guys want to use this free square this weekend on the big game, go to Prospects, use it. Use code PAS and play $5 to get $50 if you want to have some fun on the big game, and it also helps support the podcast.
On top of it, Mark Williams hasn't been able to stay on the court, but every other thing that he does for me is positive. Offensively, he's taken a huge jump in his game. The touch around the rim, his ability in a pick and roll is what shines over everything else, and you have arguably the best player in a pick and roll in Luca Doncic leading that offense. Oh, and also the other guy, LeBron James, who's incredible at it too. It's going to be perfect for them on the offensive side. And people raise questions about his defense, his effort. I think it's fair. And you posed this question on Twitter. This season, he's been far from what we've seen in the past. But I think that's where I'm optimistic. He's shown traits to be good in the past, and it's been a huge effort issue where you're on one of the worst teams in the league. Your primary focus and what gets people paid is offense. When you're due for some money and you're going and you're scoring 20 a game, people realize that, and they're willing to cough up money. Defense on a bad team, it moves people, but you're not getting significant real money for that. For the Los Angeles Lakers, his primary goal and his primary job, I should say more than anything, is be great in a pick and roll, but also lock in on defense. I talked about it when we were on Bleacher Report. I'll reiterate it now. I don't anticipate him to be that same dominant offensive force that he was dominant. I think you can argue he was dominant for the Hornets too in his own right, but I think that his primary focus needs to be defense because that's the need that we have. And it's about fulfilling a role with the Los Angeles Lakers right now where we stand. And he'll still have his time to shine. There's just so many mouths to feed offensively. So I'm going to give us a B+, but this upside, it has the potential to be an A+ because of how talented he is.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it's a good deal for both teams. For the Hornets, listen, I think they should be in the business of collecting talent and keeping talent. But when I also look at their three young players that are really part of their core, when it's LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Mark Williams, these are three guys that have not been able to stay healthy. I mean, Brandon Miller this season is probably going to be out for the rest of the year. LaMelo's dealt with injuries his whole career. Same thing with Mark Williams. And I think out of all three of those guys, you're most willing to give up Mark Williams. The deal had to be right. And this isn't like, I understand people like the Lakers fleeced. Oh my God. It's a firm price to pay. Like Dalton Connect, I think is going to be fine for Charlotte. He's a good shooter defensively. He's not special. He's pretty bad, but he's got size. So I think one day he could be a good defender, possibly. The 2031 unprotected first round pick. Unprotected first round picks don't just get flown around. You gotta really give up something to get that. And then also a 2030 pick swap. I know we're living in a world where they have Luca Doncic right now, but you own basically the Lakers' future for 2 of those years. If something happens to Luca, if he stays, if he goes, if injuries happen, you will have 2 years where if something goes wrong for the Lakers, you'll be able to come up on that. Will the Hornets want to swap picks with them? Probably not, because the Hornets have not been able to show anything really that they're going to be a stable organization that can put together a winner. But I think getting that unprotected first round pick at least lets you sleep a little bit better at night. They'll probably get like a B- to a B, just because I don't know if they needed to make that move. For the Lakers, they probably get about a B or a B+. Mark Williams offensively, like you mentioned, Drew, it's a perfect fit. He's a great screener. He's a great vertical threat. He's great offensively. The defense, I think, is what people worry about. And that's my biggest worry with the Lakers right now is what does this team look like defensively? You have Luca, you have LeBron, who I feel like when LeBron does lock in, he can be a good defender. Maybe he's just taking the regular season off. He's like, fuck it, I don't really care. Now that Luca's there, maybe he's got some more incentive and he gets, a bit more revitalized on the defensive side because he wants to win these games since it's a new, fresh piece, top 5 player in the world. But then you have Mark Williams now, who I thought the Lakers were going to go a different route, more defensive minded, who could be a vertical threat. We talked about Nick Claxton. We talked about Rob Williams, who fit that mold a bit better. But there's a chance that either of those guys either weren't available or the asking price was too high. We know that the Brooklyn Nets have wanted the world for guys like Cam Johnson. They waited out for 5-6 round picks for Mikal Bridges. So I would not be surprised if they were like, yeah, we want Connect and Austin Reeves and your 2031 first. And LA's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. For Robert Williams, for whatever reason, didn't work out. But I think the potential for Mark Williams is what you have to be excited for. It's a guy that's 23 years old, and there's no reason why he should be a bad defender. It's a guy that's 7'2", his standing reach is fucking 10 feet tall. He's physical, he's athletic. There's no reason why he should be a bad defender, specifically at the rim as a rim protector. I know, just following a couple of Hornets people, one of the bigger issues they've had, especially, is when he gets switched onto in pick and roll action. He mostly is just playing like a drop coverage. So if you're expecting him to switch, he's not going to be great for that. Maybe that's just defensive scheme wise. JJ's going to have him play in a deep drop. But that's my biggest concern with the Lakers right now. The offense is going to be amazing. It might be the best offense in basketball when you have Luca, you have Bron, Austin Reeves has having a career year, and Mark Williams has shown in spurts to be a great offensive player. But defensively, I think this team's going to struggle to get stops. I really think this team's going to struggle. Vando is a great defensive piece. DFS is a good defensive piece. But I'm looking at a closing lineup. You really have 3 defenders, if LeBron isn't locked in, that you could probably pick at, that you could probably get into action. Potentially 4 with Austin Reeves out there. So their defense does worry me. But in all, to get a guy Mark Williams' caliber, to get his potential, I think you have to be excited for. So I give him B+.
Yeah, they're probably going to primarily win games off their offense. I give both sides C+, B-. I think Charlotte, I agree, Joel. I think they got a haul, but at the same time, they haven't shown us any competent skills at drafting. So we can't really sit there and say they got these picks. We expect them to. We don't even know what 2030.
6 years from now.
Yeah, we don't even know what 2030 is going to look like. But nonetheless, you got picks for somebody who's injury prone.
I think that's part of it, though.
Yeah,
right? It's like you don't know 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's a fact. But Charlotte
could be a top 5 pick.
They've shown us in the past 15 to 20 years. It's like
absolutely.
We don't,
It's
Also a gamble. Luca doesn't stay with the Lakers.
That's a fact. Like everything's all a gamble, but they got something back in return. And I think unfortunately for Charlotte, they didn't want to wait. He's been on the team for about 2 or 3 years. He's been injury prone, unfortunately. For the Lakers, offensively, I don't think that's what they needed. That's why I give him like a C+, B-. I think you needed a defensive-minded center. I think you needed somebody that can kind of anchor the defense. Mark Williams has the potential to do it, but I think right now you're looking at the Lakers, and it's not that your window with LeBron is short. It's not this long, grand, 5-6 year plan. No, realistically, it's probably like a 2-3 year window. You need Mark to be ready to be good now. And you have to bank on his injury history. You have to bank on his defense. You have to bank on his rim protecting, and that's something that JJ Redick's going to have to fix up, which is why I give it a C, because the potential is there offensively, but that's kind of not what you need. Like you mentioned, Dels, they're probably Reeves, Luca, LeBron are going to be in those closing lineups. You need a center out there. You need somebody that can give you quality minutes. Mark Williams has to be ready to anchor that defense. And you're probably only going to be able to play DFS or Vando, probably DFS because he's a much better three-point shooter. So now you're sitting there looking at that lineup. A lot of guys you can pick on, a lot of guys you can exploit, which is why Mark Williams being able to anchor that defense is going to be important. It's going to be huge down the stretch. So that's going to be the big thing. The potential is there. Can he reach it is going to be a question. Because the offense, I don't think, even if he wasn't this high prolific offensive player, Luke and LeBron are going to be able to pump out 10 or 12 points from him anyways. They're going to be a high-powered offense. So that part doesn't matter. The most important part is the defensive side, which is where he's going to have to do most of his groundwork. So C+, B- for both teams. I think both teams got what they wanted. In a sense, Lakers got a young player they can build with Luca. The Hornets got rid of a guy who unfortunately just haven't been healthy for them.
Can I ask you a question, though? Because the statement was that you need him to be good now.
Defensively, yes.
23 years old. We are all in the mindset that the Lakers are building this team, not for LeBron, for Luca Doncic.
Yeah, but you want to still win with LeBron.
Trust me, I am a Laker fan because of LeBron James. I want Mark to be good right now, but I'm trying to take a step back. Think of the lens for the Los Angeles Lakers. He becomes a restricted free agent at the end of 2026. So you have from the rest of the season to the end of next year with him and Luca Doncic for him to really grow as a player, both offensively and defensively. It would be incredible if from here to the rest of the season and next that Mark Williams just figures out defense. He's back to his rookie ways, and he's one of the best defensive bigs that there are to offer. But realistically, at the age of 23 years old, you give up your 2031 first-round pick. This was a move for the future. We're planning to have Mark Will be potentially our franchise center. That's kind of how all in they are on this type of move.
Traded 2 first-round picks.
Mark Williams has that upside to be that for the Los Angeles Lakers.
For sure.
But with Luka Doncic and him, how they're both so incredible in a pick-and-roll offense and a pick-and-roll situation, this isn't a move for LeBron. This is really a move for Luka.
I mean, you don't know if Luka's going to stay. That's
that
the thing.
I agree with,
that's
but
why,
both of them are free agents at the same time.
Yeah, but that's why I think Mark's ascension is so important, because if he doesn't make the proper shot, like offensively, he can get as much better as you want, but the most important thing for a center will always be defense in our era. So if you, in most eras, honestly, but so if you are Mark Williams, you're sitting there thinking, or with Luka, if they don't make the proper assortments to get better, you're sitting there like, well, damn, I'm in free agency. We traded 2 firsts for Mark Williams. He has